Hello, thank you so much for coming to the Sashiko Live Streaming. This is Atsushi, and it's Thursday night, 9 o'clock. Let's start stitching together on the live streaming. This is the live streaming where I talk about Sashiko story while doing the Sashiko stitching. It is the live streaming. I do not edit. I do not hide anything. It is open to everybody. You can copy it anything you want. At the same time, if you're gonna copy it, please try to mention my name. I would like to make sure that we have the upstream to be identified or acknowledged. So I'm not going to talk about, I don't want to make it like a tutorials or other lecture. So I'm not going to talk about technique specific, but I would like to talk about some other things, culture, perspective, philosophies, and like that. Okay, I changed the opening comments a little bit. I hope that Yep, there we go. The online, the audio is on. One more thing. If you could click the good button, that'd be really appreciated. I have some trolls recently, so the percentage of the good button is kind of decreasing. So if you could help me out with that, that'd be great. Okay, hello Lake-san, and hello Lily-san, ありがとうございます。では、any other one announcement. I do plan to go to Japan this November, and I made a comment, not a comment, I made a post about Japan Sashiko Tour for November. At this moment, all of the seat is taken. We have a very, very small group of participants, like the limit of 8. And at this moment, at this point, it is all reserved. At the same time, if you could tell me your preference, that if you are ready to go, or if you are willing to go, those information will be a very big help for me to plan another Japan tour, which I cannot guarantee that I will do it, but at the same time, it's gonna be a good help for me to make it. So please fill out that if that's possible. It's all of the information is on the website. So on the website link is from this video description. It's gonna be fun. Well, yeah, I started planning it, so it's gonna be fun. Okay, let's do the Sashiko stitching, and then I will change the camera. Well, you've seen this. You may have seen this furoshiki. It's a wrapping cloth, and let's see. 10 days ago, about 10 days ago, Sunday before the previous live streaming, so about 11 days ago, I decided to do this running stitch on the furoshiki. And ever since, I don't really stop. I really don't know how to stop. I'm not doing like a crazy amount. Like, I still have a life. I still do, I still prepare dinner. I still sleep. So it's not like that crazy amount, but at the same time, it is the amount of the stitching that I would like to keep doing not if, because I would like to call myself Sashiko artisan. This is not that difficult. It's just a matter of time and amount. So I will keep doing that. I hope that I can complete it by this coming Sunday, which is going to be 2 weeks for this one specific piece. Kind of, I don't want to start with this. I don't want to start live streaming with this question, but I got a several question, not a question, DM from those who I don't know, asking me how much it's gonna cost. The fabric itself is going to cost about Probably $100 with including all the shipping to the US and also hemming, like fixing those edges. Fabric itself can be quite expensive by itself, so about $100. If I were to sell, probably I'm gonna put a little more pricing because it might be a little more costly to get it from Japan. But the fabric itself, let's say fabric itself is $100, and then I use the old 15 colors of Sashiko thread. Not all of it, like not even half of it. This is I opened a new one, and it's pretty thick, so I can probably make 5 or 6 of those. I don't plan to make 5 or 6 of those, but I think I can make 5 or 6 of those by using one skein of thread. So that's the price for the Sashiko thread. And I did not count how many hours I've been stitching, but let's say that 2 weeks, which can be about 30-40 hours or close to 50. I don't know if I have done that much. Anyway, let's say 50 hours. How much would you charge? How much should I charge? That's like one very, 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 very fundamental kind of, not a question, but theme that I have to carry. Many people ask me, DM me if I sell those. And they just come to my DM and say like, hey, what's up? How much does it cost? I usually do not answer those DM because what I offer is not gonna be something they expect. So I don't want to be insulted, or that I don't want to make it like, if they are good, if they're kind, they would reply to me saying like, oh, thank you so much for your time. Yep, that should worth. But others are quite insulting, saying like, well, no, this shouldn't be that expensive and stuff like that. So I really do not share the pricing on that. You can come to my workshop and then check the pricing for other pieces, which can probably be the references, benchmark for others. So, if they do that, they might not contact me if the pieces is above the budget. But this is a kind of simple question because this is a live streaming kind of way I can ask how much would be. I live in the US. I make ends meet in the US. How much would you charge? こんばんは. Good evening. Thank you so much for coming. I brought the topic today, but it's just out of my curiosity. How much would it? I don't plan to sell. I do not plan to sell at all, but there are many perspectives to consider art, and there are tons of definitions to make it art, but one of the kind of important definition for me to be one professional artist is to make a living by just doing it, by creating it. So teaching, selling supplies, those are a great way to make it sustainable. But if I would consider myself as the artist, I would like to see myself making my ends meet by selling something I make. So let's say I can make one of those every 2 weeks. How much should I charge? I don't think there's any good answer for that, but that's another reason that I do not consider Sashiko as the art yet. I don't think anybody can make a living by just doing Sashiko. It's very unfortunate, and I would like to change that. I really would like to make it happen. I don't know if it's me. I don't think it's gonna be me if we can do that. But I want, if they call Sashiko as art, I want them to help us to be the art, which, you know, which is not always money, but at the same time, professional can require, or does require, to be it, right? Anyway, that's kind of like not a stupid question, but it's like a very rough question. I brought more important topic today, and it is kind of a taboo. It's the taboo question that I should not ask. I should not ask. I really should not ask. And but I like to kind of ask this question sometimes, because this is the live streaming where I probably know you or you know me. So I feel much more safe to, you know, ask this question. Why do they call that Sashiko? It's it's very much out of curiosity. Like if they are making something it does not really look like Sashiko, why do they call that Sashiko? If they don't know anything about that culture, why do they call it Sashiko? Don't they have name for that? Don't they have culture for that? If they say that Sashiko is the creation of whatever creativities, you know, then why do they have to call that Sashiko? And probably that can be taken as the aggressive comment, or probably it's gonna trigger a lot of defensiveness. And I have done that before, so I'm not gonna do it. It's not the best way to start a conversation. But it's really, I wonder, like, why do they have to? Why do they want to call it Sashiko? Last week, in the last previous live streaming, I explained what the glitch is. The glitch that I consider myself is. Huh? The glitch I think I am in the trend of Sashiko. So ever since, I'm trying to kind of open myself up to learn what is going on in this trend. What am I gonna be the glitch on? If I am becoming like obstacle, what is that I am making an obstacle at, or to, or on? And it's quite interesting that there are quite many communities there that they do not want to hear what I say, or even they kind of try to exclude those who can speak English or who are speaking up, because that may destroy their community rules. So it is good to have a different perspective, but that's the kind of the question's reason why. And I'm not saying you should not or they should not. If they want to call their stitching Sashiko, that's great. Go ahead. But why? And I don't have that question answered well from the Sashiko artisans that they define as. There was a shoes designer. I think he was a shoes designer, or some designer. I think he was a designer or some stylist, I guess. And he answered this question. I think it's a he or they. They answered this question very nicely. I asked like, why do you call it Sashiko? And his answer was, well, it's gonna I'm gonna get more followers if I do that. And that answer is pretty much what I wanted to hear, for that matter, because that's very straightforward and I don't have to question myself. He would like to call his stitching Sashiko because it's gonna bring more people to his platform. And that is fantastic logic, and that's very understandable. I wish that I asked him to study, like learn more about Sashiko, and he said he would. He will. And that's the end of the conversation. Nothing more than that. But some don't want to answer those questions, and even they get defensive. I wonder what it is all about. Sorry, it's just so much fabric, and it's quite bulky, so you may not be seeing a lot of. It's kind of difficult to find the best spot over the camera. But whatever I'm doing is very much same as the weekly live streaming. It's just different items on. Yeah, I had two questions here. Today is a very, I may have asked very, very difficult question. Two questions from the beginning of this live streaming. One, how much would I charge for what I make? And the second thing is for the others who are not here probably and who think they know about Sashiko, why do they call their stitching Sashiko? Wow, those are gonna be a very difficult question to get answer on. Yeah, it is bugging me. It has been bugging me, and it does not change much. That is why I'm stitching this much, like, more than usual. But I am getting used to the idea of me being the glitch, something unnatural in this trend. I should not exist if the Sashiko was going to be something else in the US or in English. But it happened, so it is kind of interesting. And there will be something that I can do as the glitch. So if I'm gonna glitch, I'm gonna be glitch. That's the whole point. I don't have to pretend that I am something else. Yeah, I don't wanna. I'm not gonna share it today because I need more time to kind of process it. But it has a little different scenery that I'm looking after I kind of define myself as the glitch. Glitch, not a glitch. Glitch. Well, but I am not really pessimistic on that statement. I am really not happy with me being the glitch, but if it is, and because it is, I am quite positive because I can figure out what I'm doing right now, and I can focus on those who are willing to learn from me, either online or in person. But I appreciate them more. They are kind of jumping into the minority side, and it's really, really precious for me. Going back to the glitch question, from a teaching perspective, wouldn't you? Going back to the glitch question, from a teaching perspective, wouldn't your presence and message be direct disruptions to their authority or at least their credibility? At least if they sell themselves as the whole. Yeah, Yeah, that is very therefore, because of this Ty's question, because Ty's question is very valid, they criticize me as I am the one who is making the division. I am dividing the peaceful Sashiko by questioning. That's kind of like the biggest criticism I get. Why do you break? Why do you try to separate us? Why does Atsushi trying to interrupt the fun of appreciating what Sashiko is? Appreciating? But yeah, it has been doing that, unfortunately. Not unfortunately. Like for example, some Sashiko teachers say that the Japanese do not use the thimble in their stitching. Like the subject is very, very huge. The Japanese do not use the thimble, but every single person that I work with needs this thimble. They cannot, like physically, I cannot do Sashiko without this thimble. So that is really changing the practice, and what I say questions the authority or credibility, and that's why some people try to learn both. I tried to ask them to learn both, but some people stop following them, or they try to protect their authorities and authorities' credibility more than necessary. That's why they feel the gap, they feel the division that they did not expect to have. Yeah. So it is happening. It is questioning. But at the same time, I am not trying to be the authority, right? I don't like to be the authority. But what they want is the authority. So if I have a book, if I have a certification to offer, if I have more strong word to define what Sashiko is, they can choose which authorities they would like to follow. But I do not publish book for the purpose of authority. And I don't know. Like if I start focusing on the authority, then I would stop doing Sashiko because that's the opposite. But at the same time, as Tai said, it is the authorities that I'm trying to be the glitch on. So it's really, it's not a contradicted. It's a little bit. It's not complicated. It's just contradicted. I don't want to say it's a catch-22, but it looks like that little bit. Price might depend on where you sell your work. If you put your work in a gallery, you should get top dollar. There are a lot of rich people out there looking for nice things to buy. Yeah, so I don't think there is like a price for the art. And as you know, as book say that. But one of the thing is that the price of the piece will define what art is too. So that's something I have to keep thinking about it. Well, I'm not gonna sell. I don't know if I'm gonna sell online though. That's one way. For the record, I don't think I have sold the art piece on the internet. Did I have that? No, I don't think I have. I had some client who asked us to work for them, like a commission work, to make something very specific based on the photos we upload, and that was quite big money. But that was more like order made made to the order. So it's something different. Yeah, it's so. But yeah, there are. But the credibility is a one very interesting way to look at. What is the credibility? What is the credibility? Because I know what the credibility is from like a general definition, but in this context, what is the credibility? The reason I ask is they, or many, including myself, for that matter, I guess, we believe on what we want to believe on. It does not matter what the truth is. It really does not. We just believe what we want to believe. And because of that, we, or smart people, not me, smart people, or I don't want to call smart, but some people use that credibility to market, which is making this world more difficult. But credibility happens. Credibility is based on this might not something I shouldn't say, and you might not hear that. To me, after 11 years of living in the U.S., doing the socials in the English, and reading a lot of things, credibility is based on the volume of one's voice. And as much as it's sad, if I have a louder voice, I would get the credibilities over time. If they don't speak up, if they don't shout or get attention, then the credibility is not as strong as others. So the more they have rackness or shameless activities, probably it's shameless. The Sashiko master in this world, I don't know if they even exist. Sashiko master, I don't know if they exist in this whole world. Some people may call me Sashiko master. They might call my mother Sashiko master. And I might sometimes use the word Sashiko master to explain something. But that's as if they exist. That's the people who call themselves as Sashiko masters, or who they promote themselves as Sashiko masters. We can, of course, define somebody. We can consider somebody else as the masters based on what they make. But in a general sense, the credibility as the Sashiko master comes based on the voice they have, which is sad, but that's kind of truth, isn't it? So, well, that's another reason that I'm trying to speak up. I cannot be quiet. I cannot keep silent and then keep struggling with that. That speaking up is the only one way to get it. I don't want to say back. Get it at least on the same stage to compare. But they don't want to even compare. So it is very difficult, but Like, do I have a credibility on what I say? Technically speaking, you don't know, right? You like, well, you will know in the future. I hope you will know, and I hope you do, you know, believe that. But at the same time, I may be just the avatar. Well, I might be just the AI creation. I might be something that out of complete fiction. I may not have been in the Sashiko family. There's so many, but I try to make some, like, some whirlpool to, I don't know what to get, but I am making the whirlpool for the purpose of making the whirlpool. I may not have the credibility we can talk about, but I do have some credibilities because I keep speaking up. It has been 6 years, 7 years since I do that. So some people question the other authorities or the other credibility that it's not something I heard, it's not something I trust. But at the same time, after that choice, the worst case scenario is the no choice of the credibility. If they don't have any choice but only one, that's gonna be like a cult. And I don't want to make a cult. But they're making kind of the cult because in order to achieve their goal, which is money or better life, better something, making cult is probably a very good way to do that because they will worship the, authorities no matter what. So it is interesting. It is the way, there is a lot of way to do something else. But I don't want to have any of those. I don't want to have any of those. All I want is to pass down this type of Sashiko so that I can protect the sustainability of the supply and tools, and hopefully that an artisans group, and I hope that this philosophy following the technique or skills will be somewhat preserved. Unfortunately, the Sashiko introduced right now in English will not be able to carry the philosophies behind it so well because they don't focus on that. Well, because they don't know that probably. They don't know, they cannot do it. As the result. So you may be here to get the answer what Sashiko is. I cannot give you that answer right now because I don't have it. But I can keep thinking what Sashiko can be, and I can keep asking what Sashiko is for you. And you may have your own answer for that, which I am very much interested in learning. There's no such a thing as answers for that, and even right or wrong. And for that, if you think that much, I don't think there's any cultural appropriation matter for that, because you are there trying to kind of learn from it. Do you think being Japanese gives you an inherent level of credibility? Somewhat, yes, but I often say that being Japanese itself doesn't make one person as the Sashiko master or good Sashiko teacher. Being Japanese itself is not the qualification or credibility. So there are some, Sashiko teachers, Japanese Sashiko teachers, are they all credible or all all carry the same level of credibilities? I don't know them well, so I cannot say, what is good or bad. But sometimes I can say that not the Japanese, being Japanese or living in Japan, raised as Japanese, or being able to speak Japanese itself is a very good part of the credibility. If they can speak, if they can communicate in Japanese, they can have more voice, which is a good credibility. However, that itself is not going to. I rather talk to somebody who are more stitching than those who may teach or who may share what Sashiko is without stitching. I trust the one who stitches. That's my baseline, regardless of the language or regardless of the cultural background or even ethnicity or race for that matter. So I don't think I've ever said that I have a credibility because I'm Japanese. I wish that those Sashiko teachers can speak Japanese so we can discuss what Sashiko is together. But so there are many Japanese who can speak English. I mean, there are not that many Japanese who can speak English, but doesn't mean it's zero. I don't know how many percentiles of the Japanese population, but there are people who can speak English. And if they find Sashiko, then they can, develop their own content by copying or learning something new. So it is great. I'm not criticizing that. It is a great thing. But being Japanese itself is not going to be the inherent credibility. But if there's one thing that I can be proud of myself, this is something I can be proud of myself, which may be the sign of credibility, is the number of students that I have in Japan as Japanese. And number of the Sashiko artisans I work with who lives in Japan and has been stitching years with me, who are Japanese, who are, who are living in Japan. And it's like you here, you as the live streaming viewer here who tried to listen to my stories every week and trying to learn what Sashiko is. We have, same amount of the people for the Japanese audience, and they do not have a problem with me. I think, I hope. But I keep asking if they have a problem. I ask them to please let me know so that I can stop saying something hallucinating. So that can be a one credibility. Like how many Japanese are listening to that person or like following that person may be one sign of credibility, simply because that this is happening. This culture is from Japan, so we can the numbers can generalize the credibility, I think. So it might sound very, very critical and very painful way to say it, but if I don't trust any Sashiko teachers who does not have any Japanese student, so that's probably that extent, because then what are they teaching? Like they might have a Japanese teacher, that's great, but again, being Japanese itself is not going to be the credibility for the being a teacher. So I am proudly teaching Sashiko because of those who are willing to learn Sashiko from me in Japan. And probably the best part of the Japan tour is to spend time with those people throughout. And they are, they are the kind of future of Sashiko. You are the future of Sashiko too here, but unless you are listening this as the English, I mean, unless you understand English or both languages, and this will not be translated into Japanese. So I think that's one way to. I hope I'm answering the question. Did you get any ad today? It does not show here. It did not ask me when the ad is kicking in. I don't know what I did. I'll get the break now, a little bit, 5 minutes break. If you have any questions, please leave the comment. I'll be gone for like a few minutes and come back. I'm sorry, I gotta get a drink. I've been talking too much, so, and I gotta take photo of this, so I'm taking the old photo when I'm done for. Oh, this ad was there. I will answer Susan's question. I came late. Do you really think you don't have credibility? I will answer that question. Just let me have a few minutes of the break. Just a break. Okay. Thank you so much for waiting. Drink is here. Sorry. Susan's question. Sue's question. Do I really think that I don't have a credibility? It's my lifetime life lesson that I don't trust myself. It might sound very sad, but as much as I would like to trust myself, I do not. I trust what I do, I trust what I think, but I do not blindly trust what I do, what I say, because we change. We very much change a lot, and we make mistakes. So I do believe that I do have a credibility for what I do and what I have, because that comes from my memories and experience. I can stitch because I have those experience. But it's kind of philosophical and I don't like it. Probably I don't like it, and probably you don't like it too. I think I lose the credibility when they say I have a complete credibility. So I have to keep doubting if I have a credibility or not. And Sue's comment is very true. I am not AI. You saw me in person, and you have a lot of credibility. I do have a lot of credibility. Not credibility. Some internet crazies argue just to argue, but that does not take away from your credibility. Yes, in ideal world, and I might be very pessimistic about it. I might be very looking at the only dark side of the world. But those who think like Sue has become a minority. You may disagree with me, and I don't know if you have any, you know, this is something we have to argue. I agree to disagree. I disagree. I agree. I think that what Sue is saying is very true. But at the same time, they can take away from my credibility by so-called ignoring or blocking. They don't want to hear, and it's not even like issue of credibility because they don't acknowledge it. We cannot share the credibility when they do not acknowledge it. Does ghost exist? We cannot discuss about it if we don't have the same definition for the ghost. And that's where we are at right now. Like, what is ghost? And let's say one side of the people say like ghost is something invisible, something comes from the other side of the world. They can often represent somebody who has passed away. You can define the ghost. The other people might say it's one type of animal by following some completely different logic, different story. Then we cannot discuss the credibility of ghosts because one side is thinking that they exist and one side is thinking that it comes from the other world. And this is extreme analogy. This is the extreme analogy, but that's what I encounter on the social media, especially on Facebook and Instagram. They don't want to hear the truth. To them, what I say is not true. Some of you probably here remember those things, right? I kept saying Sashiko is not the word for visible mending. But there was a guy who kept saying Sashiko is the word for visible mending because he can get the mended items in his store by saying I would like to have Sashiko, then he would get the visible mended clothes. Therefore, the word Sashiko is for him is the visible mending. It does not matter what it is in Japan. In his mind, it is. And that's what's happening right now in the world of Sashiko, or for that matter, anything. And we talked about it last week, and kintsugi is one of those. Kintsugi is not. Kintsugi is not. I cannot talk about it on behalf. So if you are here, Tsuchiko-san, please correct me if I'm doing something wrong. Kintsugi is not a way to enjoy the connect or repair the broken pieces by breaking it. Okay, let's enjoy kintsugi. So the first step is to break the pottery. Is not. And I don't know how crazy that can go, but somebody might say that breaking the bowl or glass in the cup is a very important part of kintsugi because without breaking it, they cannot do it. And if that's the logic, who has the credibility? So Sue is very right. And I was like that. I have been like that, and I'm still like that too, for that matter. I hope I'm like that. But this year is a little turning point for me. I was like that very much last year, I guess. I was like, they cannot take out. Like, if I keep speaking, if I keep doing this, when time comes, my word will be listened. And if they know it, if they acknowledge it, if they realize it, they are willing to listen to that or learn from that. And I was a little too naive. So I do have a credibility, but at the same times, it is not something I can I don't know. It's not something I can sit down and wait. Sue, don't delete the message. I'm sorry. I hope I didn't say something crazy. Sorry, I did not say that. I am on your side, and I 100% agree with you. I have to explain why I'm saying those things. I really appreciate your comment, and I'm sorry if I say something that. But yeah, this is something it's something that I experienced as a change in the last few months. The glitch is that if the world is like what I believed, I wouldn't consider myself as a glitch. And I don't know. I really don't know what it is, to be honest. But there's something going on. And probably Sashiko was about to be visible mending for that matter. And then they can make another culture based on the word Sashiko. But because somebody else is saying Sashiko is not the word for the visible mending, we have to argue. We have to make a separation. We have to make a division, which is the glitch. But again, I'm not being pessimistic or despair. This is not negative feeling. It's even positive feeling because I know what I can do. How can I? It's. I am the minority. That's probably how I can explain this well. I thought of the example of Magneto's from the X-Men, or even like a villain part. But if I define this as a villain, then it's already in the Western philosophy of good or bad, good side or bad side, good side and bad side, and I don't want to do that. I thought I deleted that comment. You did? Ooh. Curious that you often say you don't have credibility because your voice isn't loud enough. I don't know. I don't know if my voice is loud enough or not. I hope it's loud enough to make some change, but I'm not good at delivering the voice. I can say that. There are many probably other way to do that, but because of the mistakes I made 10 years ago, 11 years ago, I do not carry somebody's life anymore at this moment. So no matter how busy I get, I'm not gonna hire somebody to expand what I do. So if I come to the point where I have to hire somebody, I try to reduce the work amount, which can affect my voice. And I probably have done that already. I'm trying to, like, when I say I'm trying to slow down, which means that I'm not trying to work as much. Being loud requires a lot of non-stitching work. So if my goal is to really, really raise my voice, I may have to have the content manager of my business who can make Instagram post, YouTube videos. All I have to do is to speak to the camera so that they can, not many people read right now on the Instagram. They watch. So I know that video is more. Video is more catchy than me writing the whole page of Instagram. But I'm not good at filming, so it's unfortunate, but it is okay. It is okay. This is the speed. This is the speed I like to keep. If it's too fast, then I will lose the control and I might lose the trust to myself. And that's probably the worst case scenario. If I lose the trust to myself, which could happen, trust me, it happened before, and that is quite scary. You know, if I become authority, there's a one big risk. If something sad, something unfortunate happened to my family, and if I need like billions of dollars to fix it, I change what I say right now. I will do everything to get that money. And you know, that's what I care the most. I care Sashiko, I love Sashiko, but I care my family. In this context, my family means my wife and my daughter. So if something happens and I really need some scary amount of money, then I will even throw away what I say and then try to focus on the money, which I hope it's not gonna happen. And I hope that some people understand it and try to preserve the side I was trying to share. But that's the scary part of one being in authority. The priority can change. Right now, the priority is to preserve the culture, but that can change. And it can sounds like a big betrayal. It happened. I've been there. I've done that. So it's quite scary. I'm very afraid of losing those people who I have right now. I am very fortunate to have those people who care to learn from me, who are very good at stitching, who has been stitching with thimbles, making that nice stitching. It is my precious thing, and I will do everything to protect it. But if I become the authority, that could change. And I don't like that. I want somebody to stop me if I start saying something crazy. And if I have a reason to be crazy, then I will explain. And I will become crazy. I'm not crazy, I will change the priority. But it's really pretty much everything's about what is the goal. I keep saying that all the time, but my goal is to preserve this Sashiko. I don't want our culture to be gone. So if this culture is somewhat alive somewhere, I am okay with that. That's why I do this live streaming and I say it's okay to copy those things. I may lose tomorrow's bread, but again, it's not the main goal. Money is important, but it's just the vehicle of getting to the goal. But we are living in a world that money is the goal, and that is super difficult to distinguish those two. We have a saying, you can always please some of the people some of the time, but you cannot please all of the people all the time. Yeah, I don't think I'm here to please somebody, but I hear that. So I have a say, and that might be a big big pain in the butt, but big pain in the butt. Oh my god, is this same pronunciation? Butt and B-U-T-T and butt. B-U-T and B-U-T-T is the same pronunciation? What the? No, it shouldn't be the same. It is the pain in the butt. Butt. It's the same. English, yo, English is so messed up. I mean, language-wise, I love language. I love English as language, but you cannot make those two words the same pronunciation. But yeah, I mean, it's Japanese language. Japanese as a language is pretty crazy too, but English is pretty crazy too. Some people say English is easy. Nah, I don't think so. Ah, so I have to say buttocks. So if I have to distinguish, I would say that buttocks, buttocks. So the visible mandinga is an out here, and is IG, Instagram and Facebooks are about manufacturing the outrage. Yeah, social media is the kind of the reason behind it. Before the social media, the media was the one who was making it. The big media, like mass media, I guess, is the one who was making the authority. So it was more simple, which could have been more problematic to me because, well, but at the same time, I don't know what would happen though. Without the social media, my voice wouldn't be heard because what I say is not good enough, strong enough, authority enough. Wow. So, butt and butt. Wow. Nice. That's why you use the A word. You don't say pain in the. I'm sorry. I try to not to swear in this live streaming. I know it's okay to use bad word at some point, but at some point, at the same time, because English is my second language, I try to be as careful as possible to not to mix those. Ah, it's 10 o'clock already. I will go a little bit over. I would like to finish this line. So a few more line. Please stick with me. I don't have to go today, so. But yeah, I said that you're the minority, I'm the minority side, but it does not mean that we are meaningless or we are powerless. It is just a matter of size or, scale. And I'm very, very glad that I can do this within the kind of comfortable size. I know who I'm talking to most of the time. I know that you here do not cut and paste on what I say because I can be quite aggressive if they cut what I say and paste. In the context, I don't say something crazy, but on the spot, I might say something very crazy. Do we have enough thread? Oh, probably yes. Oh, just the art word. Let's go back to the Sashiko stitching a little bit. So this is very simple. I have a simple rules. One is to use all the 15 colors. It doesn't have to be the order of the numbers that I have, like 10, 12, 15, 16, 18. It's not the order. It's something that I fell into based on the kind of color similarities. So I decided to use all the 15 colors, and more importantly, each color has 4 lines, and I change the line when those four lines meet, and I repeat that in a square. And that's kind of the only reason I made, not only, but that's the kind of fundamental rules I made on this piece. It's like a word play, but in Japanese, 4 says yon or shi, and meeting can be awaseru. It's kind of meeting, and if we combine that, it is called shiawase, which means happiness. So this is kind of a repetition of happiness after the word playing. It does not really represent that, but that's the kind of the hidden story behind this. It's not just showing off. I don't know if it's a showing off, but anybody can do this. It just takes some time, and the time is based on the how much running stitch you can run. So now it's the 3rd line, right? Yeah. So I'm gonna go around one more time, and then that'll be it. Yeah, the fabric, ideally this center should be square, but it's kind of changing its form, and that's because of the tension from each thread, and it will be somewhat fixed by doing the mizutoshi, and by using it, it's gonna be probably a little bit better, but well, it's all stitched. And I'm kind of hurrying it because I don't want to do it in the hot weather. It is extremely hot. It can be very warm. Like this hand is very, 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 very hot because it's under the blanket all the time with a lot of moisture from my right hand. So this isn't the best summer project, which I may do with summer, but then I have to expect to sweat a lot. Ah, 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 ah. I don't know if anybody wants to do this, but if you want to do it, go ahead. I don't claim anything, so if you want to do it, go ahead. It's quite fun if the goal is to just do running stitch. There's no such a thing as design. I don't even draw the line. It's very lazy work, but that's who I am. It may be a good project for those who don't want to prepare the patterns. I hear that some people don't like it. So yeah, today's question was two of those, and those two questions were something I have to keep asking myself. And I don't think I'm gonna get the answers because that answers is really it it is depend on the people's perspective. So I don't plan to get the answer, but it doesn't mean that I should give up. Wah, wah, wah. It's really hot. That moisture is crazy. I don't like it. I tried to have, I thought of making another rule that I did not apply this time, is that I would never redo any of the Sashiko stitching because I keep saying that I don't like redoing it and I don't want to redo it too much. Some people are very, careful about how it looks. So they try to make stitches and they look at it, and then if they don't like it, they will go back and then redo it. There's nothing wrong with that, but at the same time, I want to be happy with what you can make at that moment. So I was going to make a rule that I will never redo it, but I kind of broke that in the first few colors. So I would redo it if I make exceptional mistake. Not even mistake, exceptional. Exceptional something. So now it's 4 line. So this side is over now. 2 more, and then I don't cut the thread neither, so if I need one more, we will. So it can be 5 at some point. Ish. I think this is good for today. Oh, actually, one more. Japanese has words that sound the same but have different characters, so people know the difference. Yeah, we have a lot of the same sound, same character, same sound, and different character. Yes, and we have. Oh yeah, we have same sound with different character, and usually though those word has different intonation. Like for example, hashi, hashi, hashi. Hashi is a chopstick. Hashi is the bridge. So it's like a little, bit of intonations, like a rhythm, not a rhythm, the sound. Probably another famous one is ame. Ame is candy. Ame is rain. So it's kind of same sound but different. And of course, if they look at the character, they can make a difference. Oh, at least and great, thank you. So there's one more. Hashi, 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 hashi. There are 3 of those. Okay, look at this. So two more colors, which is white. So I did the last thread. This thread looks like a white, but it's actually the light blue. So light blue and 2 more lines with the white. So the last window will be this big. my hand size, I guess. And I don't know if I can. Well, I will make a video of showing all the like entire photo, but ta-la. I really, 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 really wish that you could touch this. It's so good. The feel wise, it's like, this is also, this is good. This is very good. This is very good. This is pattern. This is what we do all the time. Those are great. Those are Sashiko and what I do. Their feeling is very, very good too. But this is I don't know. I don't know what probably it's the same aligning to the warp and the weft. It's more makes me want to get some materials to do this every time I watch you. Oh yeah, materials can be expensive, and this can be quite expensive if I have to. I am the seller, so for that. Another final question before I go. So a week ago, I uploaded the photo of this when I completed here, this much. And I took a photo with my daughter who was snuggling this. And I decided to add this much. Was it too much? Do you think it's too much? I don't know. I have to kind of ask myself after this. I feel it was really too much, but well, we will see. Well, I might do the same thing again. So let's see how it's gonna go. Is it? If I turn off the light, it's more dark, right? Yeah. So. All right. 15 minutes over. Thank you so much for coming to the Sashiko live streaming. This will be done probably tomorrow. I don't know if I'm gonna do it tomorrow. I have another idea for the different one, so I will keep stitching. I think it is really important for me to stitch this much. I don't know if I have that much time to stitch this much every time, but it is very, very important for me to stitch. 10 days. 10 days is not that bad, right? 2 weeks. 2 weeks. I hope you had a good time, and I will see you next Tuesday. I think I have nothing next Tuesday. Yep, so I will see you next Tuesday. And if you have any questions or comments or requests for me to talk about, please leave a comment. I will bring it to the next live streaming. And I will update this one as the photo somewhere on Instagram or Facebook. So if you could like me or comment me, that'd be great. At the same time, one more thing is that if you could click the good button on this live streaming, that's really, really helpful. I probably caught some trolls again for some reason, and there's always like a negative click, and I would like to keep the percentage of the good for the channel health reason. So that'd be great if you could click the good button. Are the unstitched sections 4 rows wide? Does this mean this is the hem, so the fabric is not gonna fray? If that's what you're answering, that's what you're asking. Are the unstitched section 4 rows wide? Oh, 4 rows wide? This one is 4 rows wide. Probably so. About. Yeah, about 4 rows wide. No. See, I don't have the I don't have the ruler. Oh, I have a ruler. But it's horrible ruler. It's 4.5. 4.5 is here. 6 or 7 row wide. So I would need 6 or 7 rows to completely fill. I don't know if I'm gonna do it. I don't think I would. No, I don't know. It's always easy to add later, so I will think about it later on. All right. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next Thursday at this time. All right. Have a good night. Bye bye.